And we're live. Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Afro Cooking Live. Today is the second part of our We've Got Food at Home series. And so today we are making Chipotle. Last week we did Wingstop. We did some nice crispy double fried wings along with some of those Cajun corn fritters that they've got at Wingstop, and it was so good. This week we're doing Chipotle, so I'm going to show you guys how to make their cilantro lime rice, and of course they have plenty of protein options, but tonight I'm choosing to make chicken, so I've got mine here already seasoned and ready to go. As we get into it, I'll start explaining what I seasoned that with and some of the other ingredients that we got tonight. Now, the thing with tonight's recipe is obviously you go to Chipotle and you put what you want on your bowl. So tonight I made what I want to go on my bowl, or I've got the ingredients to make what I want on my bowl. So I'm going to show you guys how to make their corn salsa, which I absolutely love. I'm also going to show you guys how to make their pico de gallo or their mild salsa, and then I'll also be showing you guys how to make their guacamole. So super excited for that. I know some people like their vinaigrette. I've actually never had it before. And I'm kind of excited to try it one of these days. I don't know, but I didn't want to try my hand at making it and not really being sure of how it's supposed to taste, if that makes sense. So yeah, so it is about what? It's 6:02. We're gonna give it to about 6:04. But in the meantime, I'm gonna show you guys some of the ingredients that we're gonna be using tonight. So here I have some very, very, very finely minced jalapenos. We're gonna be using this in nearly every single thing that we make. So that corn salsa, that guacamole, and that mild salsa, we'll be putting this in. I also have some cilantro that I chopped up here. We'll be putting this in our rice, as well as all of our other toppings that we talked about. Here I've got some red onion once again. And what I love about all these different things that I'm making tonight, y'all, is they kind of all consist of the exact same ingredients. Like it don't take too much to do nothing. So here we have some red onion that I chopped up, which once again will be going in our mild salsa, our corn salsa, and our guacamole. Here I've got some tomatoes, and then I've got my avocado that I already diced up here. I had this sitting in the fridge for a little bit until we were ready to go ahead and get started this evening. I already showed you guys my chicken. Here I've got a bag of medium grain rice. This is just regular old white rice. Of course, they have the option of brown or white. I like the white rice, so I'll be making some of that this evening and showing you guys how they really get that cilantro lime flavor in there. The trick to it is cooking it is putting the cilantro and the lime in part way as it's cooking. So I've got, like I said, some fresh lime juice, which we have here. And I don't know, you guys, limes are not currently in season because I tell you what, juicing those limes as I prepared for tonight was very difficult, but we got it done. And then we also have some lemon juice, which we'll be using for a few of our ingredients. I also have here some cilantro lime salt, which I'll be adding into our rice, and a few more of our ingredients. And then tonight as well, I'll be using some tahini. It is not traditional in Chipotle style, but I love putting tahini in my guacamole. It just really gives it a pop of flavor, really brings out that kind of lime and bright taste that it has. So I'll be using a little bit of this as well. So let's see, is it 6:04? It's just about there. It's 6:00. Y'all, it hit on the dot. It's 6:04. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're gonna do is start on our rice. So here I have my pot, and I'm going to take 2 cups of rice and add that into 4 cups of water. Of course, we've done rice 1,000 times here on Afro Cooking Live, and you guys know the rules: 1 part rice to 2 parts water. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up this bag of rice and measure out my 2 cups, and then I'll add in my 4 cups of water to that. And although there's a series of options that you can get at Chipotle, you can get a bowl, you can get a burrito, you can get a burrito in a bowl, you can get a quesadilla if you order only on the app, apparently, which I just learned not too long ago, which I thought was peculiar. And this is why we always pour over our bowl in case our bag of rice gets a little loose on us. It's perfectly fine, y'all. Give me just a second to tighten this up. And now we're trying to report this. But as I was saying, I just learned that apparently you can only order a quesadilla on the app, like a full-size quesadilla. They have a kid's quesadilla that's like this big. But yeah, so like I said, Chipotle has a series of options that you can get. I personally am always a burrito kind of girl, but tonight I'm going to make a bowl. And what I like to do when I get my burritos, actually, and don't tell nobody, is I like to get them put in a bowl so that it's kind of easier for me to store them, because I never finish my burritos in their entirety. I see some other people just joined us. Hi, you guys. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight, you're watching Afro Cooking Live, and we are making Chipotle as a part of the second part to our We've Got Food at Home series. So we just added our 2 cups of rice into our pot here. Now we're going to add in 4 cups of water. All right, so we just added in our 4 cups of water. So now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is mix this up. Just so that all of our rice doesn't immediately sink to the bottom. Mixing it up can help sometimes. All right. So we just added our water and our rice into our pot. We're gonna go ahead and turn this on to a high temperature. And kind of like what we do when we fry stuff, we're gonna start off high and then go low. So we're gonna put our pot of rice on until it is boiling. We're gonna let that boil until I'd say maybe about 5 minutes, or we're gonna let it boil for a total of 5 minutes, excuse me. Then we're gonna turn our heat down to a lower temperature and let that simmer for another 10 minutes until all the liquid has completely evaporated from it. But when we take it from its boiling point down to that lower temperature, that's when we're gonna add in our cilantro and our lime and a few other things as well. So, like I said, start off with a high temperature, put that on there, cool. So now what we're gonna do is move on to our chicken. So here I've got some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can use chicken breast. You can use both parts of the chicken if you want to. I had some thighs on here, so I went ahead and I used them. And I seasoned these with a little bit of sazon along with some paprika and some garlic and onion powder. I also added in here, I'm trying to think, y'all. Oh, some cumin. And then lastly, I added in some of this cilantro, lime, salt as well. So we've been letting this marinate, I'd say, for about an hour now. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat up my pan here. The skillet, I don't have a bunch of chicken, so I didn't need a super large skillet, but I'm gonna heat this up and then add our chicken in and we'll get started cooking that. Turn this on to a medium to low temperature. Cool, so as we let that heat up, of course, we want to lubricate our pan. I'm going to add in a little bit of grapeseed oil here. I see some more people just joined us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Welcome. Yes, Chipotle can be very good. I don't know, I was talking to my mom the other day, and she said she felt like it's gone down in quality, and it might have. I don't know. If nothing else, for me, my Chipotle experience has changed because I used to be able to scarf down some Chipotle. And now, honestly, it takes me a couple of days. Like, if I get it for lunch and I don't return to it for dinner, I'll return to it the next day, and even then I won't finish it. So I don't know. Although I enjoy Chipotle, for me, because like I said, of how long it takes me to eat it now, because of how large the portions are, it's kind of like, Chipotle again, which is what I love about today's recipe. Actually, is when I'm making it at home, I can control my portions, right? I don't have to give myself too much of anything if I don't want to. So that is the great part of something like this. And then also, things are getting expensive. I'm not gonna lie, every time I go to Chipotle, it seems like they have raised the prices on something. The guacamole is more expensive, the queso is more expensive, the proteins are more expensive. And so being able to make this at home is definitely saving my pockets a little bit of money, and it's giving them kind of a sigh of relief, if you would. So we just, like I said, added our grapeseed oil into our pan. We've got it set to a medium temperature. It seems like it's just about ready. We're gonna go ahead and add in our chicken thighs, and I've already cut these up as well, you guys. So this should be ready for eating as soon as it's done. We got a little bit of seasoning in here, so we're gonna go ahead and take our spatula, which we'll be mixing our food around with, but also just get the last bit of that out of there. We want all that flavor. We're gonna let our pan heat up just a little bit more until we start hearing that chicken cook. But in the meantime, we're gonna start on our corn salsa. So here I've got a bowl, and here I've got 2 cans of sweet white corn that I've already drained and washed. I just wanted to get, I don't know, sometimes when you use canned corn, it has that residual taste to it, and I didn't want that, so I rinsed it off. So I'm gonna take that and add it to my bowl here. Here we go. And then to that, I'm gonna add in a little bit of cilantro. Now, I know that I love the way that Chipotle's corn salsa tastes, because it's sweet and it's savory and it's kind of bright in taste and it's got that liminess to it. So I'm gonna add in a little bit of cilantro and I'm gonna kind of taste. Right, I'm gonna season to taste today, you guys. I know a lot of times we'll use measurements, but today I'm gonna add things, and if I feel like it needs a little more or a little less or something, then we'll even it out. But for now, I'm gonna add in just a little bit of this cilantro here. And then I'm gonna add in some of these red onions as well. And what I've noticed regarding Chipotle's corn salsa is that it's kind of even. Like, although it's majority corn, it's got a little bit of everything in there. Nothing overpowers the other, and I absolutely love that. So now I'm gonna add in a little bit of this jalapeno as well. And we don't want this too spicy. The corn salsa is not spicy. It's just got a little bite to it. So we're gonna add in about 1 teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half, or a tablespoon and a half or so. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but our corn, or not our corn, excuse me, I'm talking about our corn because we're making it. Our chicken is behind me and it's starting to heat up a little bit. So now we're gonna add in some of this lime juice. And then also, this is one of our recipes that requires a little bit of lemon juice as well. So we're gonna add that in there. And then I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of salt, not too much. All right. Now I'm gonna get a spoon and mix this together, and we're gonna try it and see how it tastes. So here's what our corn salsa looks like so far. Now tip it down so you guys can see. So it's looking kind of Chipotle-like. It's not looking too homemade. It's actually looking very store-bought, or very bought in store, if you would. But it does not matter about taste, or it does not matter about appearance. It matters about taste. So let's give this a try and see what it tastes like. Mix it around a little bit more. Make sure we get that lime juice all around, all that salt, that cilantro. All right, let's give it a taste. I'm about to blow on it, y'all. I'm so silly. Let's see. Mmm. So it tastes really good. It's definitely got that lime and that cilantro to it. But what I want is a little bit more sweetness. I use sweet corn. I was trying to find super sweet corn, but I couldn't find any. So what I'm going to do is add in just a little bit of agave. Also, our rice is starting to make a little bit of noise as well. So matter of fact, before we add in that agave, let's check on what's going on over here. Our chicken's coming along beautifully. Let's give our rice a look. All right. It's coming along nicely. Like I said, we're going to add in some of this agave here to help sweeten it up and bring out some of that natural sweetness that the corn has. All right, let's give this another taste. See how it is now. There it is. Just need a little additional sweetness to it. That's all. So now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and set this aside. We've got it all mixed together. And what I really want is for some of that lime juice to break down a little bit of that cilantro. Just because, of course, when you eat ingredients raw, not having cooked them at all, they can be a little strong in taste, but that's exactly what we want. But I know that when I let this kind of sit and marry itself, it's going to be perfect by the time our chicken and our rice is done and we're ready to assemble our bowl. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, y'all. And now we're going to start making our guacamole. Now, y'all, I don't want to act like I don't know that groceries are expensive. I assure you, I know that groceries are expensive. But I've never understood why guacamole was additional. I mean, I get it. Like, avocados aren't cheap. They don't necessarily grow all over the United States. Sometimes they're not always growing in the United States. So you got to bring one from other places. But I mean, they charge like an arm and a leg. Goodness gracious. It's a lot. But that's all right. Like I said, today is meant to kind of help us make a version of this at home so we can save our pockets a little bit of money. So I'm good. So I got you guys. Give me just a moment to finish mixing up our chicken and keeping an eye on it. Like I said, our rice is starting to boil as well. Keep that moving around so it doesn't stick to the bottom of our pan. I'm gonna let that go ahead and do its thing. So here I have 2 large avocados that I got from the grocery store. And fortunately for me, they were perfectly ripe. So they're not too overdone like that. We're gonna take these, and I've already cut them up, and add them into our bowl. And use our fork to get this last little bit out here. Now, before we add in anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and mash up our avocados as is. See if I can find my potato masher. Here we go. So we've got our avocado, got our potato masher. I'm gonna give that a good mash. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Some people like their guacamole kind of chunky. I'm not opposed to it, but today I would like mine as smooth as possible. So here's what our avocado looks like. So now I'm gonna add in once again some more of our onions that we've got here. And I really love to eat guacamole after I've let it sit for a little bit because like I said, some of these ingredients are really, really raw and they can be very bold and strong in flavor, but our guacamole should be pretty good to go. We're gonna add in some cilantro as well. Some people like tomato in their guacamole. I personally feel like that should be against the law. Tomatoes and guacamole are not something I'm a fan of, but that's okay. Like I said, we're making our own homemade version, and Chipotle doesn't put it in theirs anyway, so we don't have that to worry about. Our chicken is coming along nicely. Our rice is starting to boil all around. As we're making stuff, of course, we're going to keep an eye on these just to make sure nothing gets overdone. We're gonna let that finish going. So we just added in our red onions along with our cilantro. Now we're gonna add in a little bit of jalapeno, just like we did with our corn salsa. Now their guacamole does have a little bit of a kick to it, so I'm gonna add just a smidgen bit in here, but these are diced up so finely you don't even taste them. Then we're gonna add in some lime juice, of course. This is one of the recipes that also requires a little bit of lemon juice. And then, like I said, I personally love to add a little bit of tahini to mine, so I'm going to put some of this in here. And I'm going to add this in before adding in my salt because tahini can be very salty, so I'd rather have this salted than actual salt itself, if that makes sense. And after we get this mixed up, we're going to go ahead and check on our rice because from what I can hear, it seems like it's just about ready to do its thing. All right, so here is our guacamole. We're gonna go ahead and give this a quick taste before we check on our rice and add our things into it. And like I said, take it from that high to that low temperature. think it needs a little more jalapeno. So we're gonna add some of that in here. And then add a little bit more lime juice as well. And then lastly, we're just gonna go with some regular old salt. Like I said, I was adding in that tahini because I love the flavor of it, but it does need a little bit more salt to it. Perfect. Perfect, y'all. All right, so our rice is boiling. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and take it from a high temperature, from a low temperature here shortly in just a moment. But before we do that, we're definitely going to add in our lime juice along with some of that cilantro. So here's our lime, here's our cilantro. All right, and then I'm also gonna add in some of this cilantro lime salt. Gotta use the other end. This side got a little funky. Let's see. There we go. All right, so we're gonna mix this together. Gonna turn down our temperature. All right, so we've got all of our ingredients mixed in there. That's that cilantro lime salt that we just added in, along with a little bit of lime juice. And we just turned down our temperature. So now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is put a lid on top of that, and we're gonna call it a day. And we just wrapped up our guacamole as well. So y'all, it's almost time to eat. From what I can smell, our chicken is just about done. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a taste as well. Go ahead and turn that off. I see some more people just joined us. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Afro Cooking Live. Tonight we are making homemade chipotle. Y'all know it's good because I'm doing my little dance. That chicken is so flavorful, y'all. Cooked to perfection. We're going to go ahead and take it off the heat because it doesn't need any more. It's cooked fully all the way through. For those of you who are just now joining us, we just added in our cilantro as well as our lime juice and a little bit of cilantro lime salt actually to our rice. So, of course, the way that we cook rice here on Afro Cooking Live, we do 1 part rice, 2 part waters. We start off, let it boil, then we take it down to a lower temperature. We put a lid on it for the last 10 minutes and we let it kind of do its thing. So it's currently in the phase of doing its thing, as I said. But that is almost done and ready to go. We just got done making our corn salsa. We also just finished up making our guacamole, which I'm going to give another taste because, y'all, this was so good. And I just want to make sure, just make sure it's not poisonous or nothing like that. Perfect. All right, and then lastly, of course, what everyone seems to get on the chipotle bowl, we're going to go ahead and make our mild salsa. So here, I've got about 5 Roma tomatoes that I diced up. I'm going to add them into our bowl here. And I made everything else kind of in smaller portions, but I'm making this in a larger portion because honestly, you can just eat this with chips. I mean, you can eat any of it with just regular tortilla chips, but this especially. So we're going to take some of our red onions once again that we diced up ever so finely. Add these in here too. Because we don't really need it, I'm gonna add in the last of the cilantro as well. Of course, we gotta add in some of our jalapenos for a little bit of additional spice, but not too much. What I loved is about all the toppings that we chose to make today is that none of it is especially spicy. Like, it's got a little kick to it, but none of it is like, oh my gosh, blow my mouth up. And then lastly, of course, we're gonna add in the last of our lime juice and our lemon juice. And before we mix this up, our lemon juice had a couple of lemon seeds in it, and of course you do not want to bite into those, so we're going to take those out of here. We got like two more we got to get out of here. The one thing that's always confusing if you do not strain your lemon juice before using it is you never really know if there's seeds in there because it gets cloudy so quickly, you guys. All right, we got the last one out. Go ahead and give our hands a rinse. And then I'm going to use a wooden spoon to mix all of this together. All right, so here's what our mild salsa is looking like. But before we taste this, we have not salted it, and I know it's gonna need some. So we're gonna add a little bit in here. All right. And I know I said a little bit, and that was more than a little bit. So we're gonna say I'm gonna add some in here. There it is, correction. All right, let's try our mild salsa and see how it's coming along. Here it is. Mmm. Now that right there, that's good. And I had told you that I was making a little bit more of this than I was on my guacamole or my corn salsa because you could just eat it on a tortilla chip. This is so good, so refreshing. I tell people all the time that Italian bruschetta and like pico de gallo always put me in the same mindset because of how fresh they are. You just use some herbs, some tomatoes, a little bit of onion, you know, maybe some garlic. Yes, this is it. All right, so we're done. Our chicken is done. We're gonna go ahead and check on our rice, see how that's progressing. We turned it down to its low temperature, and now we're kind of letting it do its thing as we had worded it. Y'all, I think the rice is. What? We've been on here for not even 30 minutes, and I think dinner is ready, y'all. Let me get a fork and try this. I gotta get a second bite because honestly, the first one was way too hot for me to tell if it's ready or not. Give me just a second. All right. We've blown on it. It should be cool enough now for me to taste it and be able to tell if we're good. Perfect. It's got that lime. It's got that cilantro. Got that little bit of salt to it because we added in that cilantro, lime, salt. Let me go ahead and take this rice off the eye so it don't overdo itself. Because, honey, we're ready to go. Dinner is served. Go ahead and wipe off the stove here. We don't want to make a mess. All right, y'all, it's time to assemble our bowl. So just like they do when you go to Chipotle, the first thing they ask you is what kind of rice you want. We only got one kind of rice today. We've got our white cilantro lime rice. Let me go ahead and place that here on our counter. I've got my bowl. I'm ready to eat. So here's our rice. For those of you who are wondering how it looks, you can see all that cilantro up in there. So I'm gonna take my rice, put it down in my bowl. And the thing is, they don't be stingy. They're not stingy with the rice. They'll give you plenty of it if you want it, but it's the meat where they start kind of, getting a little stingy. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit more rice, as they would do as if I were at Chipotle. But because I'm at home, I'm gonna give myself all the protein I would like. So today I opted for no beans, pinto nor black. I would have loved some fajitas, but honestly, I just forgot to grab the ingredients for them. But we're going to add in our chicken here. Like I said, today we use chicken thighs. Move our rice out the way so we can get some other toppings on here. So here we go so far. Here's what we're looking like. We're going to take some of our mild salsa and add this on here. Then we've got some of our corn salsa. And like I said, I love their corn salsa. I'm going to do about 2 or 3 scoops or so. Then I'm going to add in some cheese here. I've got some Monterey Jack cheese shredded up that I'm going to add. And I love a lot of cheese on my Chipotle, so I'm going to put some of it on here. And then I'm going to add in some sour cream. And then last, like they do you at Chipotle, I'm going to add my guacamole on last. You hear my dog outside barking? She must be jealous because she knows she's not getting any. Sorry, baby. Chipotle's not for dogs. Gonna go ahead and do a nice big old dollop of that as well because I also love sour cream on my Chipotle. And then lastly, of course, we're going to take some of our homemade guacamole, which honestly, I think I bought the ingredients for less than what it costs at Chipotle. And we're going to do a pretty hefty sized dollop of that as well. All right, so here is our Chipotle bowl made at home because we've got food at home, y'all. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. I'm going to mix it all together. And something that I like to do that I've been told is weird, and I'm perfectly okay with it being weird, is I like my Chipotle cold. So I told you guys before, some people like bowls, other people like burritos. I like to get my burrito and then put it in a bowl because I feel like it's an easier vessel for me to save it in for later. I also like my Chipotle cold. I'll get a few bites in hot, but when I really enjoy it is when it's kind of cooled down. I don't know, there's just something about the way the cheese and the sour cream comes together that I really, really enjoy when I eat it a little cooler than when they give it to you. All right, so we've mixed up our Chipotle. We're gonna go ahead and give it a taste. We're gonna clean our fork off first, wipe it on the side so we can really get a taste of everything in there. First bite, here we go. Mmm. Y'all, when I tell you this thing is good, Maybe when I travel, and if I'm in the mood for some Chipotle, I'll give Chipotle some more of my money. But when I'm at home, oh no. Mm-mm. Mm. Get some of this stuff out the way. Because y'all know a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen, so we got to clean up. Y'all, when I tell you this is so good, I oftentimes do not consider my food seasoned to perfection, but that chicken, seasoned to perfection. The rice is super flavorful, very light, also cooked just to the point of perfection, if you would. All of our toppings that we made, our guacamole, our corn sauce, our mild salsa, fabulous. They've got that bright flavor to them. And then to kind of mild everything out, we've got our sour cream and our cheese, which is also delicious. I will admit, some beans would have benefited this. This would have been even more delicious with some beans, but with what we have, oh, this is absolutely wonderful. Let me get one last bite before I tell you bye. All right. I'm not going to eat any more on camera because I know it's not fair that y'all can't have any. But of course, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Afro Cooking Live. This was our very special episode, a part of our We've Got Food at Home series. I hope that you guys enjoyed this recipe and these cooking techniques. If you guys did, please show us your interpretations of them. You know, go home, make them, share them with us. We would love to see you guys make the recipes that we share here on Afro Live, on Afro Cooking Live. If you don't already, what are you doing? Go ahead and follow us here on Facebook at Afro American Newspapers, and you can follow us on every other platform at Afro News as well. We do this every single week. We've got some more great recipes on the way for you guys, especially as things are heating up. We might take it outside, do some things that are great for a picnic. So you guys be sure to follow us so that you can stay up to date on everything that is Afro cooking related. But like I told you guys, I'm not going to do too much and finish my food on camera. I'm going to do it off camera. So I'm going to get out of here. I will see you guys later. Bye.